Hey there everybody, it's Kimberly. Welcome back to my channel. As a CEO of a company with over 9 offices, I've seen a lot of people come in for job interviews and I've hired over 70 people. I've pretty much seen it all when it comes to job interviews. I know who's on their game. I get a really good sense of who is bombing and who's gonna be a great fit to work for my company. Today I'm gonna walk you through the process of how to do your absolute best job in a job interview and how to really impress the person you're interviewing with. And I'm gonna take you through my process of what I look for in the ideal candidate. And these qualities I'm looking for match what some of the other top CEOs and entrepreneurs and business owners and recruiters are looking for. I'm gonna take you through literally everything from before the interview to mid-interview to after the interview. So by the time you finish watching, you're gonna be prepared for that big job interview that you just want to ace. If you want more videos like this one, this is my first video in the empowerment series that I've been putting out. Here's a list of some of the topics that I'm going to be addressing in future videos. So let me know which one of these videos you want to see and I will definitely get to that. So in the days leading up to your interview, you definitely need to research the company you're interviewing with. I can't even tell you the number of times I've seen candidates who say, "Oh, Kimberly, I'm so excited to work for KMS Therapy. I wanted to work for KMS Therapy for so long." If you'd really done your research, you'd know that my company is called KMA Therapy. So getting that detail right is absolutely critical. Doing a good job of understanding the company's needs, where they are in the marketplace, what they actually do, and how they service their clients is key to you actually understanding their core values and making a really solid impression. It is also critical to research the job description of the job you're applying for, because that's gonna give you information on how to present yourself and the things to say during your interview. So for example, if you're going for a job at Disney and you know that part of their core values are to inspire and to entertain, you wanna make sure that your personality is uplifting, that it's inspiring, because you know that that fits with the core values of the company. And say your job is for sales associate at a Disney store, where you need to make sure that your human interaction, that your rapport, that your vibes are amazing, because the rapport that you have with the interviewer is gonna show them the rapport that you're gonna have with customers. So you need to be on your A game when it comes to the job description and the company details. So say you're going in for a job and the title is art director. You're gonna know just from that job description that you need to present yourself as creative, as artistic, as welcoming, and a little bit more right-brained than you would if, say, you were going for a job as an accountant, where they would really expect you to come in looking very serious and your demeanor to be more serious. And so I think it's really about being intuitive and understanding what they're looking for in the job and the qualities that they're gonna expect of you. That way you can go in feeling really prepared. So in terms of what to wear for an interview, you do wanna put a lot of thought into your clothing and perhaps even plan it out a couple of days in advance. Now I prefer something neutral, something maybe monochromatic, and also very modest, because the idea behind what you wear is that it should show you as a true professional, but that it also shouldn't be distracting from what you have to say. If the interviewer is doing a really good job, they're gonna be listening. They're gonna really wanna hear your story and focus on what you're gonna bring to this position. And if they're distracted looking at your clothes, if there's something really colorful or bright or like eye-catching, that's actually gonna take away from what you have to say. And in my opinion, that will derail your interview. I've done a lot of interviews for admin positions as well, and someone came in fishnet stockings one time, and right before that person even came in, I knew they were a no, because that was something that I thought was really inappropriate to wear to a job interview at a psychology clinic. Finally, when it comes to clothes, you really want to think about the company culture and what other people at that place are going to be wearing. So if you're going for an interview at Diane von Furstenberg, you definitely want to be wearing something that is either a Diane von Furstenberg piece or something that someone in her culture would wear. But on the other hand, say you were going for an interview at Snapchat and you knew that everybody there was kind of like, it was like a sweatshirt and jeans and sneakers kind of culture, you still would want to dress up more for the interview, but you wouldn't want to wear a suit and completely alienate everyone and make them feel like you wouldn't be a good fit for their culture.
You're wearing tuxedos to a job that requires you to clean bathrooms. Please leave this office. We're done with this interview.
The last thing you want to do to feel super prepared for your interview is do a mock interview, either with yourself or have a friend ask you questions. You're going to be probably getting asked a lot of things that you haven't been asked before, so getting a friend to try to kind of throw you off and maintain your composure, if you can successfully do that, you're going to feel a lot more prepared actually when you go into your interview. So now it's the day of your interview and you're walking through the door. You definitely want to show up early, but not too early. The right amount of early is about 10 minutes early because it shows that you care, but you're not so early that you're going to make the gatekeeper or the receptionist feel very uncomfortable. And you're also not going to make your interviewer feel uncomfortable if they're like, oh, your 10:30's here and it's literally 10 o'clock and they're not ready for you. You might be the type of person that feels more safe if you get there like an hour early and have time to spare. So if you do that, just go sit in a coffee shop for a little while and wait until about 10 minutes before and then head into the actual interview office. So for me as an interviewer, I always show up 15 minutes before my interviews are scheduled to start. And there was actually a time when I got to the office 15 minutes early and my interviewee was already there. So when I came in, it was very uncomfortable for me actually because it made me look like I was unprepared, and as I was getting set up in my office, I knew they were just like sitting there waiting for me. So you never know how that's gonna come across or how that's gonna make your interviewer feel uncomfortable if you're super early. Now for me, one of the ultimate tests is how somebody acts with the receptionist that's in the room. Now Caitlin and I have a little trick that we do when any new interviewee is coming into KMA. Caitlin is our director of client care and she's always at the front desk when interviewees come in. And when people get there early, one of our little tests is that we always want to see how they engage with Caitlin. Do they say hi? Are they friendly? Do they make conversation? Because we know that these qualities are something that would make someone a great therapist if they're open and friendly. So we want to see how they act when they think that no one's really watching. Even if I'm ready for that person to come in, I'll give it about 5 minutes to let them have that rapport time and give them a chance to show who they really are in the waiting room before they come in with me. And honestly guys, sometimes that person loses the job before they even meet me because they don't say anything to Caitlin and they've basically blown their entire interview. There are gonna be times where this isn't always possible, so don't stress if that's not the case. Like if it feels awkward or, you know, if there's not a chance to talk to the gatekeeper or the receptionist. In our clinic, sometimes there's a client in the waiting room and the therapist doesn't want to make conversation. Like that's totally fine. We just want to see that you're friendly and that you have a great attitude and that you're open to all of the new people that you meet around you. Now, right before you go in, you need to use the bathroom, check out that you don't have any lipstick on your teeth, just do a once over in the mirror, make sure everything is tucked in, and it's a good chance to use the bathroom as well because nerves can kind of get the better of you when you're in that actual interview. This gives you one last chance to kind of pull yourself together and take a deep breath and prepare. And right before you go in, you want to put your cell phone on silent as well, just so you don't have any distractions during the interview because this looks really unprofessional if your phone starts ringing right during the interview. And even worse, if your phone does ring, do not pick it up. You can apologize profusely and say, I meant to turn it off right before I came in. I'm so sorry. What were you saying? But do not pick it up. That is the ultimate sign of disrespect and will probably lose you the job. Now this might seem really obvious as well, but just don't bring anyone to the interview with you, whether that's a friend, a boyfriend, a husband, a child.
I'm sorry, who is this gentleman sitting behind you?
Hello, Ms. Lady. I'm Dale. I'm Brennan's stepbrother.
This is just the ultimate unprofessional. I rarely ever see this happen, but when someone does bring someone, it's just really distracting because we're like, why? They need like a chaperone to the interview? Like, why are they? This is a workplace professional situation. You don't need somebody with you for support. You should be completely competent to come in by yourself to work every day. And if you're gonna be hired, that's what we expect of you. So if you do have a friend that's with you for the day, have them sit next door in a coffee shop until your interview is over. But don't have them come on site at all. If you guys like this kind of content, definitely come and follow me over on Instagram because I bring you guys behind the scenes in my life as a CEO and a girl boss and running my company for the last 11 years. And I have a special series over there right now that's exclusive to Instagram that's all about a day in the life of a girl boss. So you get to really see it all over on Instagram. So definitely give me a follow over there. And now you're in the interview. The first thing that I look for as an interviewer when you come in is I am 100% aware of your body language. How are you connecting with me? What is our rapport like? For me, I'm typically interviewing admin and therapists, psychologists, and sometimes consultants for the company. So I want to know that if you are going to work with me, that you're going to connect with me as a person and have an awesome attitude. I kind of have a sense of if someone's not going to get the job within the first 30 seconds, if that first impression is off to me. So your first impression is really important. How do you make that amazing first impression? You look the interviewer in the eye, you smile, you act engaged and bubbly. You may even want to give them a genuine compliment. A genuine compliment is not something like, oh, I love your office. That's something that shows you haven't really done your research. A genuine compliment shows that you've done your research and you love the company. So when someone comes in and says, wow, Kimberly, like I've watched some of your YouTube videos, I love what you're doing in the field of psychology, you're a big inspiration to me, that actually means so much, because not only does it make me feel good because they know a little something about me and the company, but also it shows me that they really want the job. They've done their research and they're excited about the position. So for me, that actually makes a huge difference when someone takes the time to offer a genuine compliment. Now, some people feel a little bit shy and that they don't want to offer that compliment, but I'd say if it's genuine, you should go for it and really let that person know how excited you are about the company. If you were going for an interview with Tony Robbins and you knew that his goal was to feed 1 billion families this year in 2020, you might say, oh my gosh, Tony, I'm so excited about your goal to feed 20 million families. Like, that is such an honorable goal. And I think that you would be the perfect person to work for because I just love what you've done. I think that no one could possibly hate you for saying those words. It's only positive. Now, you definitely want to speak slowly and clearly so that the interviewer can understand what you're saying. When we get nervous, we tend to talk a little bit faster, which is totally normal. And I want you guys to know that your interviewer is not expecting you to not be nervous. When I interview someone, I know that if they care about this job, they're probably going to be nervous, at least for the first 5 minutes of the interview. To me, it's something that I don't even consider to be a negative factor at all. So just know that your interviewer isn't asking you to drop the nerves or to act like you're not nervous. I think if you focus on what you're trying to say and just really focus on the message, your nerves are going to go away anyway.
I'm so nervous and so excited. It's here.
You're probably not the most nervous person they've ever seen, so it's really not a big deal. Now, do not ever bash your previous jobs. I have seen so many examples of people bashing their previous jobs or their previous employers. And this is nothing but a red flag because it shows that you obviously didn't end things too well with your previous employer. And what that suggests is that you may not end things so well with this job and in this opportunity. So you want to make sure that you talk about your past experiences really positively and that you're just highlighting the positive and taking what you can away from that experience. Caitlin, our director of client care, once interviewed somebody and asked her about her previous employment at Subway Sandwiches, and this woman said, oh, my previous position, it said sandwich artist, but it was really just making sandwiches. We had a little bit of a chuckle about it after because obviously sandwich artist is just making sandwiches, but the fact that this person really complained about that job, like it wasn't good enough for them, really said a lot about how they would treat our job if they weren't employed with us anymore. So it was a definite deal breaker. You also need to avoid sharing too much because this is a job interview, and I've definitely seen people get carried away and feel like this is like a life interview where they have to share their life story.
Do you have any special skills?
Oh, yes. I do. I do voices.
What do you mean you do voices?
I think that having a story is important, and maybe being able to share why you are where you are today and why you do the work you do is important, but you definitely don't want to go into too many personal details because that's not why you're here. You're really here to show what you can do for an organization and really highlight your skills and attributes. Now, while you're interviewing, one of the best things that you can do, and the thing that I love when I interview people, is if you can come up with some solutions to the company's problems. Now, what you don't want to do is say, oh, well, here's all the things that you're doing wrong, all the way up to the CEO level. No. Like, that's not your place to say anything about the way they run their business, but in the area that you're interviewing for. So say you're interviewing for a position as the social media manager, and you take a look at the company's social media and you say, ooh, they could really be like doing a little bit better on their analytics, or they could be adding this, or they could be adding that to get more engagement. In an interview, you would definitely want to highlight, hey, I checked out your social media. You guys are doing amazing. And I really feel that some of the tools I have to offer could increase your engagement in this area, this one, and this one. Showing that you have solutions and you're willing to put those solutions and plans into motion, it's a huge sign that you are the right person for the job. Because typically when someone's hiring, doing, they need something to be done. And if they know that you're proactive enough to be resourceful and do that thing, oh my goodness, as an employer, it's such a relief to be able to be like, take this job, we're drowning, we need this job done. And if you can say, yep, I got it, I know how to do that, and if I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna figure it out, and here's how we're gonna drive your engagement. There's nothing more attractive to an interviewer than someone who really takes the bull by the horns and offers solutions. Now, one of the sneaky little things I do during job interviews is that I really try to get a gauge of whether they were pushed or pulled from their previous employment. If your interviewer asks you why things didn't work out at your previous job, it's a lot better to come back with an explanation of how you got a better offer somewhere else, or how your passions were really about something else, so you wanted to go more in that direction. That's a lot more powerful of a story to tell an employer about how you were pulled, rather than saying, oh, like it was mutual, it didn't really work out. Because as an interviewer, that tells me you were fired or you were let go and it did not end well. The other thing I always do is I ask you about your past 3 employers and how they would rate your performance on a scale of 1 to 10. This tells me honestly how you really feel about your performance at your last places that you worked. And if I were to contact that person, which I usually do ask if I'm able to contact that person, how would they feel? And if you change your story when I ask if I'm able to contact that person, that's also a huge red flag for me that things didn't work out the way you said they worked out. So you want to have a really good story. You want to be really prepared about how you present your last places of employment and what actually happened. And if you're a good candidate, you probably were pulled anyways, so you can be really honest about just how you were pulled into a new situation. Now, you also want to be really honest. You're going to be getting asked a lot of questions about skills, about characteristics about yourself. You're not going to have all of these skills that maybe are requested, but the last thing you want to do is say that you can do something that you can't. They're not going to expect that you can do absolutely everything, so I think it's really important to just focus on what you're really good at, and if there's something you don't know, be like, honestly, I don't know, but I'd be so happy to learn. I'm a really resourceful person, and I'm able to do the research needed to make sure that I can accomplish that task and learn that skill. For me, I'm always a lot more concerned not about what a person's skills are, but like how resourceful are they? How willing are they to learn? Because I know if they're resourceful and they're willing to learn, the skill itself doesn't matter because they're going to be able to learn whatever they need to learn on the job. So my take on that is if there's something that you don't know, if you can just show how you were willing to learn something in a previous job and learn it really quickly, that's all you really need to do. But lying about your experience or saying you can do something when you can't, chances are we're gonna know that. We're gonna know that you're not being completely honest, and that pretty much is a deal breaker as well. It's a red flag, and if someone's willing to say that they can do something that they obviously can't, then what are they gonna lie about when they're on the job? So again, deal breaker. Better to be honest. You guys would not believe the number of weird questions that I have heard my friends and colleagues ask interviewees in their interview. Things like, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
Shoot. You're shrunken down to the size of nickels and dropped to the bottom of a blender. What do you do?
I personally don't ask these kinds of questions because I feel like hypothetical questions get hypothetical answers. I try to ask a lot more practical questions about someone's history and their work experience, but sometimes you're gonna get thrown for a loop and you are gonna be asked one of these really silly questions. And if this happens to you, it's really important to like not let it throw you off, because you might be thinking, this is such a dumb question. Like, why do I need to answer this? Like, what are they thinking? Throw that mindset out the window. You're here for an interview and you need to respect that person and just play along. So if you were an animal, what would it be? Make something up and try to come up with a justification. Maybe even find some humor in it, but you need to show that you'll go along with it and that you'll be open to the company's core values and their mindset, because this is probably a demonstration of who the company is when they ask this type of question. One of the worst things that anyone's ever done to me after a first job interview is that 20 minutes after they left my office, they actually phoned the clinic and asked for me. I got the message, of course, and wasn't able to call back right away because I was conducting other interviews, but I knew that they'd called and I was like, okay, I wonder what they want. I guess I'll call them back later. 20 minutes later, this person called again saying that it was urgent and that they really needed to talk to me. So I phoned them back 5 minutes later, and this woman said, I just wanted to say thank you, Kimberly, for a wonderful job interview. If you guys can only imagine my annoyance that that someone would force me out of something I was doing and basically force me to call them back. So just so that they could thank me for the interview, it was a huge waste of my time, and I didn't hire this person just because of this one major red flag. Instead of phoning or causing a major inconvenience for the recruiter, I think it's really important to actually just send a very polite, lovely follow-up email. All of the people who get hired by me send these follow-up emails. It's like a quality of top candidates that they always love to follow up with something really pleasant. You can even mention some of the things you discussed in the interview and why you're so excited about this position. But for me, it's basically a confirmation that that person is the right fit. So it's important during this phase to just relax, be patient. Sometimes I am not able to hire somebody even for a couple of months after I interview them, but that doesn't mean I've forgotten about them. Sometimes I just don't have the right position available for them when they come for their interview. So I think staying in the good books of the person you've interviewed with and following up regularly is honestly like so lovely, and I love when people do that, because sometimes it's just a matter of keeping that connection until the right job for them comes along. Now, if you're going to a lot of job interviews right now, I really want you to know it's important not to get discouraged, because especially if this is like your first major life job, it can take a little bit of time to get in the door to like the right opportunity for you. And I know that the market out there is really competitive right now. It takes a lot of hard work, but if you are using all of these techniques, I'm confident that you'll make an awesome first impression and that you will be able to land your first job. But if it's taking a little longer than you expected, I just want you to know, don't lose hope. It can be a bit of time before you get the right fit, and that's totally fine. In the meantime, I think it's a great idea to get out there and do something. Don't sit at home waiting for that right job to come along. Whether it's volunteering in your field or getting experience by taking another course, or even working a part-time job at like a Tim Hortons while simultaneously increasing your education and skills. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. For me as an interviewer, I think that shows a lot of grit and how much energy and substance that person is going to bring to the job when I hire them. I wouldn't worry about taking something a little bit more entry level in the meantime, even if it's like retail or working at a restaurant or something. I think these are all really good experiences that help you develop your grit. Okay guys, I hope you found this video incredibly useful. I know it's a little different than some of the content I already have on my channel, but I love it, and this is the type of thing I really want to share more with you guys about. I'm going to list some of the topics I have for this empowerment series right here. Here are the topics I'm planning to do. If there are any that stand out to you that you really want to hear about, please let me know in the comments and I'll prioritize those videos over the others. And for sure, just let me know if you like this content and if you want more videos in this kind of area. All right guys, don't forget to be subscribed to my channel and follow me on my socials right here, and I'll see you all next week for another video.